Alexander Goma is the Managing Director and CEO of Grand Cereals Limited, a subsidiary of USC Nigeria plc, an experienced business leader with over 20 years experience. Alex Goma is a seasoned business manager with significant expertise in general management, sales and trade marketing, customer service and logistics of FMCGs spanning 6 countries in Africa. In the past 3 decades, he has dedicated his life to building people, customers, and brands in respected global businesses in Africa. Some of these businesses include Procter & Gamble, British American Tobacco, Guinness Diageo plc, and PZ Cussons. Before joining Grand Cereals Limited in 2019, Alex was an executive director on the board of PZ Cussons Africa. He served as the company's corporate strategy and external affairs director for 3 years and was also the managing director for the company's consumer strategic business units (SBU) for 5 years. Before that, he was the managing director of PZ Family Care SBU, a position he held for 6 years. Alex Goma also held various roles in other companies, including sales director at Guinness Nigerian plc and head of trade marketing and distribution at the British American Tobacco Nigeria. During his time at the British American Tobacco Nigeria, Alex held the position of Trade Marketing Development Manager and thereafter the Country Manager for Senegal, Gambia, and Mauritania. During his stint with Procter & Gamble, Alex was the Customer Marketing Manager, PNG, West Africa, Category Manager, Fabric and Home Care, PNG, Egypt, District Manager, Ghana, District Manager, North and West Nigeria, and lastly, Customer Service and Logistic Projects Manager, Lagos, Nigeria. Alex Goma is notable for building and managing results-oriented multifunctional teams that have launched new brands, grown sales volume, market shares, enhanced profitability, and created leadership organizations. He has played major roles in developing sales capability programs and management trainee schemes to build a pipeline of future talents. Alex holds a degree in biochemistry from the University of Port Harcourt and an LLB degree from the University of London. He is a faculty member of After School Graduates Development Center, an NGO set up to prepare college graduates for employment or running their own company. He is also a member of the advisory board of edischool.com, a non-executive director at Literamed Publications, the publishers of Lantern Books, and also serves as corporate advisor for AfriScience Digital. Alex is also a notable public speaker in a number of public forums with focus on leadership, commercial strategy, and execution. He is a sports lover who enjoys playing soccer and golf. He is happily married to Ruth Goma and they are blessed with 3 children.
Quite a lot. One of the first biggest challenges was that I lost my dad when I was 16 and a half. And I was the first child out of 9. I had to grow up immediately. Going through school, especially the balance of years in university, wasn't exactly easy. But you know what? By and large, managed to do that. So by the time I started working, I had responsibilities to ensure that, okay, I could provide a sense of direction for my younger ones. Now, when my dad died, I was in my first year. And for 2 years, I was almost derailed. Because, like I said, he taught me how to read, gave me exposure. I spent a lot of time with him, challenged my thinking. And look, even when I was writing my WAEC exams, I wasn't aware of the importance of WAEC. For me, it was just if I brought my results and it was fantastic and my dad was happy, it was a good thing. So now here you are, the person who you bring the results to is no longer there. So I was going through school, sometimes not attending some lectures, right? Not paying any attention, right? Because life just felt like you're just going through the motions. And then in my third year, we were going to have departmental elections. So I went to meet the guy who was General Secretary to say, look, why don't you go for presidency and I will support you and I will get my guys. I was one of those you would call backbenchers in school, right? I will get all the noisemakers to support you. And he said he wasn't going to go for it, he wasn't interested. So an hour to the closing of the entries, two of my classmates came to me and said, come, Alex, have you seen the guys who are coming in for presidency? I said, no. He said, these are the two people who have listed. I said, no, they can't be our president. He said, exactly. I said, no, they can't be. But he said, there's nobody else. I said, no, we have to find somebody. These people cannot be president. And then the next thing they say, you have to go. I said, it's too late. It's 1 hour to the closure of the form. They said, don't worry. I said, what do you mean? They just brought out, they had already gotten the form, filled my name, and they just brought it out and said, sign here. So I took it up. And it was the first time I actually thought about it. I never thought about it being, so that evening we were going to have manifesto. So I went around to meet some students who were in final year, who were 1 year my senior, to ask them, what do you look for in a president? What do you want? And then spoke to a few colleagues and whatever. And went for the manifesto night. You talk about your ideal, what you're going to do. And basically, I won the election with over 85% of the votes. So it was basically one direction. And then the first thing that struck me was that, okay, now you're president. What if a year one student came to you and he had a problem with his studies? How are you going to help him? So I started to think about the impact I had on other people. And I also then realized that, look, you have younger ones who are behind you. What will happen to you if you make nothing of your life? So I think from that moment, the turnaround happened. I started reading to understand so that I could teach people. And I think that is what has helped me all along because anytime I go through any concept or anything that is new, I'm learning with the mindset so that I can also help teach other people. So that period of adversity and that period of going around turned around, and all of a sudden I became a lot more purposeful in what I did, right? So that was, I think, a major blow. In my career, I think when I was in P&G, at the point I had a line manager who felt, he came in and he felt that he was told, these were his words to me, that if anybody was going to give you trouble, it was going to be Alex. And so he was going out for me because he felt I was going to give him trouble. And it was a tough period. It was the first time I felt my competence or what I understood was being challenged. But I had to feel calm. I had to tell myself that I had nothing to prove. But it was the first time it ever crossed my mind that you could lose your job. I had a family, so how would I take care of my family and all of that? So what I did was I said, okay, how am I going to de-risk this to make sure that I never put my lifeline in the hands of anybody or any other organization? And so basically I started to say, okay, how do you put aside money so that if you don't have a job for a year or two, you can take care of your family? The one thing I'm scared of is that I will not be able to pay. If there's anything that will kill me, is that I can't pay the school fees of my children. So I was very clear about that. And then I also became deliberate that, okay, I will make sure I work hard. I will make sure I do what I want to do, and that people will come look for me rather than me be the one go look for people. So again, that bit of pressure, I turned it around to say, no, actually, this is why you need to be independent, make your calls, and choose where you want. So I've turned down offers that maybe offered a lot more money, right? Because I just wanted to be where I could be myself and express myself. If I felt the situation or the circumstances didn't allow me, then there was no need for me to do that. There are times when I don't have any money, and people will think that, oh, how can you as an MD or a director not have any money in your pocket, right? Because I need to plan my resources. I have bills to pay, and sometimes when the bills come in and they're plenty, and okay, we support other people. My wife and myself, we believe in supporting other people. So there are times, I remember once when somebody came to ask me, and the person has never asked for money before, not a family member, but close to some of my family members, and I think reached out. And I didn't know how to tell this person, who said, look, my children have not gone to school and they have no food to eat. And I didn't know how to tell this person that I had only 5,000 naira in my account at that time. So I just kept quiet, because if you ask me for something, if I want to do it but I don't say anything yet, because I'm trying to figure out how to go about it. And you know what? Somebody passing around in the office looked at me and said, what's wrong with you? You are unusually dull. I said, no problem. He said, no, there's a problem. All right. And I said, well, this is the situation. It's an abnormal one, because somebody has just requested for help. I don't know how to help this person, and I'm trying to figure out how I'll be able to help this person. Now, this person asking the question, because I've helped before at some point with a loan or something, had my account number. Less than 20 minutes later, I saw an alert and a message that says, look, you do for others, so this is just to support your cause. So of course, I immediately asked the ladies, can you send your account, send to me? Before you know it, there were 3 or 4 more requests that had come in. So I got an alert for 100,000. By the end of the day, I had only 30,000 naira left. But, so people don't think that you don't have bills to pay, or you don't struggle with challenges or responsibilities. There are so many, but I don't carry it on my face. I believe that you should learn to deal with the issues that you face. If you have a support group around you, right, it is good. But I think that every adult has a responsibility to be responsible for themselves, right? I remember as a student trekking 21 kilometers to go home because I didn't want to ask anybody for transport money. So that's the way I look at things. So rather than go beg you to say, I will trek, right? So you won't know, right? And the irony, myself and my friend who trekked, his father was a brigadier general at that time. You wonder and say, and he also felt the same way. We walked 21 kilometers to get home. And when I got home, my dad asked me, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in school. I said I had no money. He said, no, that's no excuse, right? Basically send me back immediately. He just allowed me to eat and then send me back to school. When I got on the bus taking me back to school, yes, of course I was given transport, so I didn't have to trek back. I was just crying. The woman was collecting the bus conductor. It was Kaduna State Transport Service. Just looked at me, and she didn't collect anymore because I was wearing my uniform from me. So basically, transport money became part of the extra that I had. So lots of challenges every day, lots of questions around, should I make this decision? Should I do this? So just like every other person.
Generally speaking, men and women are different. And we said last time out, I love the differences, a lot of at least the physiological differences between a male and a female are driven by the hormone testosterone. No, it's just, so it doesn't even matter whether you are XX, if you are, or you are XY. If you are XY, and then you have androgen insensitivity, so you are producing testosterone. But for one reason or the other, your body is not responding to that testosterone. You are going to develop like a female, So that's why we have all the intersex issues coming up, clinically speaking. So that's why we are, because testosterone drives and the differences are there, the mental changes, the physical changes, it just drives those differences. So what do you need to know about your man?
So one is that I think I have, I will come back to my wife, because I think I have a supporting, very supportive spouse. We share the same ideas, we share a lot of values in common. And so early in my career, I had to make quite a lot of moves until maybe 2006. I never stayed in one location for longer than 18 months. I was being moved around. Right? It takes a lot of understanding to accept that it is critical, because those moving around, the roles gave me exposure, gave me experience, gave me results that meant that I could get. So there are times when we don't take, we don't want to make the sacrifice, because we want to make it, we want it the easy way. You transfer, I've had somebody come to me, the father wanted his child. We had just hired them, and then somebody reached me and said, oh, there's a father who doesn't want his son sent to Taraba State. I said, why? Well, it's his son. He doesn't want him to be far away from. But I said, look, you have to take responsibility for yourself. You don't know what Taraba has to offer. You don't know whether those are the opportunities where you would have some of the best results. Incidentally, in a previous role, I'd had somebody, a young guy we hired, we sent him to Taraba. That guy turned things around. It was from that place he was promoted an area manager, and today that guy is a director in a company. Now, if I compare with the person who didn't want to go to Taraba, that guy has not made the same headway. So my family has been one, very clear, supportive set. The second has always been, yes, I lay a lot of emphasis on the scriptures. I think that the Bible is the best management book or personal book that you can have. Now, I'm not a saint. I always say that I'm not a pastor. So sometimes when I use these things, people think I say, no, I'm not a pastor, right? It's just that those principles are foundational. So they help me. So what I do is I go back into them. I think from reading, I draw a lot of experience. I draw a lot of experience from colleagues, friends. We have people where we share experiences. When we finished NYC, we had a group of people. We had this belief that we didn't have a godfather. So if we were going to get a job, we had to work hard for it. So we spent time practicing how to do aptitude tests, reading, playing chess, Scrabble, different things just to stimulate us. But we had this belief that if you invited us for a test, you won't say it's because we failed, that's why you didn't take us. So we shall cross that first set. And till today, I have a lot of colleagues, friends who are, we can talk around business challenges that you face in your industry, in your business, and things like that. So you can rub ideas. People that I mentor, people forget that when you mentor or you teach people, you also learn, right? So I have a number of people that I coach, I support, but they support me, but they are not aware that they also support me, because they also give me stimulus, because they also challenge me to have to keep on standing up. Because when somebody says, look, we're following your footsteps, then even if I'm tired, I have to remember that there are people who are following my footsteps. I have to keep on going for them. And there are times when they refresh and they tell you, look, guy, you have to cool down. I think I realize I'm human. I know that I am not perfect. I know that I have gaps. I try to improve myself as much as I can. I know what I know what I don't know, and I'm not afraid to say I don't know. I believe in looking at other places and copying and pasting with pride. I believe that there's nothing new under the sun. So there's nothing you're thinking of today that has not been done somewhere or elsewhere. So if I need I can always find, it's just a stimulus. I don't need to know the answers. Sometimes I may be confused, but once you just point a light in one direction, from then the speed at which I will take it, because I start seeing different options as a result, and that comes from having people around you. So I observe a lot, I look at people a lot. So a lot of people don't know that they're teaching me just by my being around them, because I am learning from them. First thing is that, like I always tell people, your degree course doesn't make you an expert in that field. So again, I always go back to the citation that you are giving. You have been found worthy in character and in learning. So what this institution should give you is to know how to learn, right? Because life is continuous learning and unlearning. So how do you learn? I use simple things. We're supposed to have tutorial classes. What happens? Your lecturer comes, introduces the topics, right? Gives you reading list, you go read and you look at that, and then you come and have conversations or debates around it. What are you doing? You're learning to bring your own ideas. You're learning to listen to other people's ideas. You're learning to sharpen your arguments. You're also learning to understand, okay, when something is superior to yours, you accept that. So my advice would be, read wide. Don't limit yourself to your field of study, right? Read wide across a number of this and try to understand things from other perspectives so that you are a well-rounded individual. Apply yourself. While in school, look for opportunities to work, do something, right? So that you start to learn the ethics about working. Whether your course requires an internship or not, look for a place to work, all right? Build your numerical skills as well as your communication skills, because those two are the foundation for everything else, right? Business is about money. A lot of people say, oh, I run away from maths. No. You're going to make decisions. You're going to look at probabilities. You're going to do analysis. So it's not the YDX, it's your basic things. Build those skills, right? And then find a sense of purpose, of value, right? So it's in trying so many things, right? You may start to find out, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, and then you can establish that. Some people will find their way at age 15. Some people will find their way at age 25. Some people will find their way at age 40. Everybody has his own track, right? Everybody has his own track. So it is important to look at others for the purpose of learning from them, not for comparison, not to beat yourself up and decide whether you're good or not. So, and also enjoy that period of life, because that's the period of life where you have the time to try so many things, right? You will not have that opportunity again, especially within a sane or a safe environment. So I think it's important that so I'll tell them, read wide, apply yourself, look for something, try so many things, right? Don't be afraid not to know, right? And ask lots of questions. Start building certain basic fundamental skills. Ask why? Thinking and problem solving, communication skills, okay? Personal leadership, putting tasks, milestones for yourself and making sure that you're able to do those things. If you do those things, you'll find that when you come out of university, what do recruiters look for? They're not always looking for the straight A students. They're looking for the students who are smart, but who have also shown they can handle other things. Because in the workplace, you're going to work with different people. If you can't work effectively with other people who have differences in temperaments, their behaviors, and you, how will you survive in the workplace? Right? If you don't think about solving problems, if you see yourself as a victim, or I don't have this because I don't have money, I don't come from we don't have, no, you will be operating from a victim mindset. If you want to change somebody, you change their mindset. As a man thinketh, so he is. The formula for life is very simple. Your thinking determines your actions, the results that you get. So if you think that unless I know somebody, I won't get a job. You will spend your time looking for who to know or finding somebody who has connections. If you think that I must be the best, have you seen a man excellent in his craft? He will stand before kings. You will spend your time, doing those things. A lot of us have idle time. A lot of us have tools at our disposal, technology, whatever. What do we do? At the same time you spend chatting, at the same time you could learn something. 2 minutes lesson. In P&G, when we had a meeting and somebody was late, we always had someone stand up and tell us a 2-minute lesson. He'll just get up and say, okay, I'm going to give you a principle, 2 minutes. But it's one of those things that made the biggest impact on my life. I learned around the things that are within my control, the things that I can influence, and the things that, even though they affect me, I can't control or influence. And how do I focus? I learned that in a 2 minutes later. And later, I went to read about it when he may have read it from Stephen Covey or so. But how do you use the time? David used his time. Okay, when he was tending sheep, when the sheep are sleeping, what will he do? Or when they are grazing, what will he do? Some people will complain and say, I have no time. I have this job. Oh, I have no time. No, that time means you can do something else. Can you read? Can you learn something? Can you apply yourself? So whilst I was in PZ, I said, okay, look, let me continue learning. I decided to do a law degree, part-time from University of London. And when I finished that, I said, okay, I didn't want to do any school anymore. I don't want to sit down and write exam in front of 130-year-old who is my invigilator. I said, okay, so I will start learning other things. I started to learn how to play the saxophone. I say, if I master that, I will do something else. I got some books. Okay, I've dropped that by the wayside, but I wanted to start learning Yoruba properly. I said, okay, can I learn how? Just something, let me learn, keep on learning something. So anytime you have, use it to apply yourself. You'll be surprised. You might be amazed where that opportunity comes. They say luck is when opportunity meets preparation, right? The day they call you and say, come and write this test. After all, the first job I got, I went to apply. I didn't know this thing, and then the person said, I can't do anything for you, but okay, we have a test coming. Will you come? Oh, I am ready. And that's how I got it. But the period we spent preparing and say, you know what, they might call you one of these days. When I went to serve, I went with my general maths book 4 and 5. So in the evenings, I will sit down and just read and play around with it. I said, why? Because these are basic things. I wanted it to be second nature to me, right? I wanted to do sums without using a calculator, all right? Just to build that. So that period of NYC helped me build that. Now, when I wrote the test for P&G, you're good with maths. I said, no, I'm not good with maths. My results were not fantastic. He said, no, but look at your score. But I know it was the result of that period of going back. I didn't think because I was a graduate, I was too old or mature. Sometimes I take the books my kids have, their books in secondary school. I just take the maths book and I play around with it just to say, okay, what can I remember? Can I solve this sum? Can I do it? I don't need to do it, but I just have to keep, you have to keep sharpening the sword. What do I do to relax? I have 2 main hobbies. Okay, third one. One is football. All right, I still play football up till now. Every Saturday, you're likely to find me between 7 and 11 o'clock on a football field if I'm in Lagos or if I'm in Jos. Right, I have 2 teams I play with. One we've played together for 25 years now, 26 years. Right, so it's the same group of people that have always been around. The other we've played together since 2006 or 7. Right, so it's the same group of people of this thing. So I play football, I play golf, right? So on a Friday morning before coming to work. And like I said, okay, I am learning how to play the saxophone. I'm hoping that one day in future I'll play in a band, they will not stole me. If I could change one thing in the world, I think it will be, what's the greatest thing that will make the biggest difference? I think it's to create, I will call it, put a dash of love in everybody's heart, right? Because once you do that, everything else will follow, right? Like Jesus Christ said, look, at the heart of all the commandments lie to love your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. So if you love your neighbor, you're not going to steal his property. You're not going to block him because he's trying to drive and whatever. You're going to help. So I think there are lots of issues, challenges we have today because of lack of love. And that's stemming, first of all, lack of love for self, because you can't give what you don't have. Right? If you love yourself and you treat, like it says, you love your neighbor as yourself. So if you don't love yourself, you can't give that love to your neighbor. So that's basically, so if I can give everybody a sense of self-love, right? For everybody to have self-love and worth. If you look at the societies that are more developed and more advanced than ours, even the guy at the bottom end of the society who is doing a job that we take for granted does it with dignity and respect. The doorman will tell you, sir, you can't park here. Excuse me, ma'am, you can't stay here. He's doing it with dignity and respect. He respects himself. You're forced to respect him. Here, the guy is anything for the boys, and therefore, you know what, anything goes. It's that lack of self-love. I think if I could give anything to the world, that's what I would do. I think that life is tough. I think this myth of the higher you go, the cooler it becomes, right, is what has led people to expect that life should be easy, and therefore we get frustrated when things don't work out. If you want a life of growth, expect it to be tough. You know, it's like lifting weights. If you start with 5 kg, right, it is hard at first, and then you get used to it and it becomes easy. And if you stay there, it will be easy forever. If you move to 10, it will become tough, and then the things and the challenges we go through are building us for something else. So I think it is critical that we go through life with faith, right? Because that's where your trust in God comes in. With hope, because so long as you're still alive, anything can happen. And then with love, because that's what drives everything that we do. Don't go living life feeling like a victim. Don't personalize your struggles, your wahala. I am cursed. I have suffered 20,000 mishaps. No, you're not cursed. It just happens that you happen to be in that spot 20,000 times. Some people have been there 25,000 times and it's turned out better for them. So don't carry it on your head. It is me, it is that. Understand that life is tough, but life is about choices, all right? And we live with the consequence of the choices we make or we allow others to make on our behalf. If you're able to change your thinking about life, you might be amazed the kind of opportunities that we have. As many Nigerians are migrating or escaping, as somebody said, there are foreigners who are coming in with briefcases and then establishing wealth here. There are families of Indians and Lebanese that have lived in Nigeria for more than 100 years. And they have 2, 3, 4 generations here, and they came here with nothing and they set up a lot of things. The only thing is that they're willing to persevere, all right? And they understand that you need discipline. You can't just make your first 100K or 500K or 1 million and you want to do remake. Life is not like that.